Hi, for today's flight, we are going from Fresno, KFAT, to Portland, KPDX. This is a follow-on flight from a flight I did earlier, which was Reno to San Francisco, following the flight plan in the Quick Start Guide and using the information in the Quick Start Guide and some videos that are posted on the SSG forum. Today's flight, we are using the SSG 170. The last flight we used the 195. And the purpose of the flight is to do a little bit longer flight than what we did last time, and also to incorporate some of the feedback that I got on the first video, which we will do. Also to do a little bit better job on documenting some of the issues and errors that we found on the first time. See if we can duplicate those and possibly do some bug reports to SSG. We are using the scenery for Fresno that we downloaded off of the web that includes the SAM, the Scenery Animation Manager, which is why we have the automated gate there in Fresno. We also have marshallers, so it's kind of a small add-on that we've got for that. Let's get started. We will start off the display chairs. The stairs we are not going to be using because we're at the gate. Let's go ahead and do a shift F9 and open up the door so we can get in and out of the cockpit. Let's go up to our displays here and go to the adjustment display and get that tweaked up. All right, so we are going to, sorry about that. Turn off the yoke in the seat so we have a little bit better view. We're going to select scroll mode so we have access to the mouse. We're going to select pounds, and let's go ahead and open up the aircraft so we can get passengers on and baggage loaded. Go back out, and we've got the doors open, and we've got the GPU is on. So GPU is connected. So we're ready to get started. Battery on. And GPU button. So we've got GPUs available. We click that and we go to in use. Go to nav lights. Generators 1 and 2 off. And we're going live with our displays here. And our master caution is on, so we click that and turn it off. Check that off. Dispatch. So one thing that we've done for dispatch, like we did last time, is that we're using the aviator's tablet. We are also, so we got the charts all loaded here for Fresno, and you can see us here at the terminal, as well as Portland, our airport, approach, star and approach. So we're all set up. Let's do one other thing, get into charts and load up 15. Okay, so we're using SimBrief for our flight information that we're going to be using. And so we got dispatch clearance and we're all set up there. Okay, adjustments display, we go back up to the top here. We've already done a few things here, but let's go ahead and our payload is 16.8. So let's go to the second page here and increase our payload. Clicking on the plus button, there's no scroll capability there. 16773, that looks pretty close. So we click on set payload and it turns green. So we've got our payload set. Press F8 to bring up our CDU. And we'll do a init first thing here. So to do the init, we go to flight plan, pause init, load any one of these, and then go to route from here we can go back to menu and initialize. That's one thing that I would like to see on the future, is to be able to go directly into this initialize menu without going through the flight plan and doing kind of a fake setup to start off with. Navigraph data is loaded. We got current Navigraph. Pausing it, we'll go ahead and load 3. 1 is required. And we're going to turn on the magic key there. Notice the keyboard. So we got KFAT for our origin, KPDX for our destination. This is actually a real flight that flew a month or so ago. Alaska flight 3440 for flight ID and activate. So we did the init. Now let's go to the next page. Let's bring this up again a little bit. Go back. There, simple route, quick flight. Direct to SWR and LMT and Moxie. Right. Now if we go to nav mode and departure, we're departing 29 right and activate. No SID for this flight. Go to navigate, arrival. We are looking at 10 right for our approach, timbers 2 for the star, and we're coming in on Moxie. Since we already selected Moxie before, if we select Moxie here, we're going to have a duplicate entry on the flight plan for Moxie, but we've already got it selected. So let's go ahead and try that and see if that will take care of the first issue that we saw on the first flight. Activate. Alright, go to flight plan. We got Moxie. Alright, so it did not actually select the full star, which should be Portland and coming in. So let's go back to nav and arrival, timbers 2 and Moxie, and activate. Now look at the flight plan. Alright, so we got Moxie, Mules, Moxie, Portland. So let's take a look at this. Remember to turn the keyboard off when you want to use the keyboard. This can be disastrous, I tell you. Disastrous if you do it in flight. Hit the 2 button and end up dropping the flaps. Okay. So go to map, turn off progress, and let's go to plan. Alright. Oh, well, we have a different issue here. We've got 3 routes going back to Fresno. That's not good. Alright, so let's step through this. We got KFAT, SWR, LMT, Moxie, and then Mules H. Well, let's see. Where is that going? If we click on Mules H, it's going back to KFAT. That is not correct. So we got the same or very similar bug that we had before. And let's go back, and we got Moxie again, which if we click on that, that is Mules. So let's take that, previous, see what that does. Okay, let's see if that's any better. Let's step through it. We got KFAT, top of climb, SWR, LMT, Moxie, Mules. No, this is, oh, then back to Moxie. So let's, Portland. Alright, previous. I don't think we want Mules in there at all. Let's step through it again. Moxie. Boy, it's doing some garbage here. Let's take Portland And all right, let's see if that clears it up a little bit. Step through, KFAT, hit top of climb, SWR, LMT, Moxie, Portland, Timbers, Vance, Flower, F full, S sail, micro, B brew. Then we got a discontinuity. Let's go here and close that discontinuity up. Okay, that looks better. Now, this looks pretty tight here, and if we bring up our, let's go to airport. So if you look at the star, it's got us coming into pub and then taking a manual route at 305 degrees. And if we look, this goes from pub, look at the approach, directly to Heron, and that's already into the approach there. So really what we want to do is to go to Scapo. So let's turn on our keyboard again. SCAPO, and put that, Scapo, and then Heron. So let's take care of that discontinuity and activate. Now we are at S sail. Micro, brew, B brew, pub, and then Scapo. What we'll do is fly a manual route from pub and at 305, come down here just past Scapo, make the corner into Scapo, and then we should have a clean approach with plenty of time to get lined up into Portland. So this is indicating, it's important to take a look on any flight that you do, and I noticed with the that you take a look at the star and the approach and see what's going on and see if that's really what you want to do, if you need to make any adjustments there. We'll take a look at, while we're here, if we take a look at Scapo, we should be at 4,000 feet. And this has got 767, so clearly that is wrong. And from a speed point of view, probably want to be going around maybe more like 200. So 4,000 here. Okay. So we got 5,042, 3,000. So the fourth. Well, let's see. Pub, P-pub. Let's take a look. We should probably be looking at 3,500 actually. So 210, 3,500. Okay, so 5,042, 35, 4,000, 3,100. That looks probably, and then we should be going 200, 31. But Heron, let's see, 190, 3,100. All right, and then go next, pallets, probably 180, 2,000. Getting for final, and then we'll be manual by then, so let's activate that. So I think we're good. We've done some modifications for our speeds. And the purpose of this flight, I know that in real life, the pilot is going to be coming in and at about 1,000 feet or higher, going to be flying the approach manually, maybe higher than that. But I want to test out how well the plane follows the instructions that we've programmed here. So that's the purpose here that we've got. Taking care of our discontinuities, we've got our speed set in, so we can start checking. We've got the route, departure and arrival, and continuity. All right, so I think we're set here on the flight plan. We found that it doesn't handle, there's oftentimes when you manually enter in the flight plan, and I don't know whether it happens if you import the flight plan as well, but you'll see that it will insert garbage going back to the original airport and stuff like that. So you really have to do some cleanup work and take a look at the plan with this airplane. It's what I would consider a high maintenance aircraft to work with. Now, on the original flight that we did, we tamed some of these down, but we were well below the red line. So let's go ahead and leave these as they are. Go to the next page. We want 1,000 pounds fuel reserve. And next page, for our altitude, we are looking at, let's go back to charts and see what top of climb is 3,000. So let's go ahead. Now that pretty well matches what we've got programmed here. So let's 30,000. Go ahead and do 30,000, which is what SimBrief has got our recommendation of what our traffic controller is going to tell us. So we do a confirm init. Let's go back over here. We've done our reserve fuel, cruise altitude, and our perf init. Now we can go back over to our, again, turn off the keyboard here. I did a few practice flights here, and the last couple turned disastrous when I was typing here. I thought I was typing here and ended up moving the flaps, so it's something you really got to watch out for. Okay, if we take a look, FMC production is 73.38 for our fuel. Sorry about that. I hit the wrong mouse button evidently. Go back a page. We've got fuel at 10.3. Let's play it safe and manually. So magenta means that it's following the flight computer's recommendation. Let's go ahead and turn that to green so we manage it, and go up to 10.205 is probably close enough there. 10.205 is a defuel, so we're going to decrease the fuel a bit. There we go. So we're set. We've got a little bit more fuel than what the FMC is, the flight computer is recommending, but we're in line with SimBrief. So we've double checked that. Now, for the thrust, the last flight that we did, we actually were taking off in Reno, and we had some, we went to takeoff 2. Let's go ahead and leave it at takeoff 1 and have a little bit more power when in taking off. So we'll leave that as default. Now we go back to perf and go to takeoff ref. This looks good. We're going to do our 2 for flaps. All right, now if we move over to the co-pilot, so we can see our weight here, and get our quick reference handbook out. We're doing the 170 flaps 2 at 73.5. So let's do 74. So 126. Let's go ahead and turn the keyboard on. 126 for V1. There we go. 126. 136 for VR, takeoff speed. 143 V2, and 191 for VFS. Alright, so our takeoff ref is taken care of. Now if we go forward a page and back up to our adjustments display. Turn this keyboard off. So let's switch the view. We are at 25% max, so 25% at flaps 2 is 2.5. Now it says all trim settings are down, but that I believe is inaccurate because if we look, we're at 0 and we're already at the bottom of green, and I'll get error messages if I put minus 2.5. So I think in actuality, and I've tried it out, at 2.5 up with this weight, it takes off good. So let's go ahead and do a trim of 2.5. So trim is taken care of. Let's go back up here and get our altimeter set. Go to Fresno. Its altimeter is 2977. So here 2977. Kind of a hazy day, so let's go ahead and turn our lights up a little bit, and we can also turn them up here as well. Alright, so altimeter is set. Back down. Initial flight level is 10,000. Perfect. Indicated airspeed for takeoff or for initial climb is 200. That is good. Runway heading, let's take a look. We're 29 right at 292. Heading select. 292 for our heading. Nav source is FMS, which in fact it is, but if we want to, we can click on here and double check. Any cards we're going to skip. Thrust levels are in fact idle. Go up. APU start. Let's take a look. Got our APU readout here. It is starting up. Okay, let's take a look. We have exhaust out of the APU, so we're looking good. We can turn GPU is off. It says available, not in use, so we've already clicked that off automatically. And now we can go over here and on screen 1, disconnect the GPU, and let's close up shop here. The doors closed. And let's do a Shift F9, close the door. Alright, GPU is gone, we're still connected to the gate. Doors and windows closed. Passenger signs on, red beacon on, sterile cockpit on, hydraulic 3A on, transponder. Bring this up and check the radio, is standby, and we've got our code in. Now we go back down here and press the magic takeoff go around button. And notice it's activating. 1, 2, and 3. And our gate is swinging away. Alright. Let's go to map and turn on progress. Takeoff go around button. Now, on the last flight that I did, I said that one of the things that was could be improved is the fact that we would have an indication of nose wheel steering other than on this checklist. Well, in fact, we do right here, steering off. So we go over here Click on steering, and it's gone. So it's checked here as well as here. So now we've got our nose wheel steering is engaged. Push and start clearance, plug in. We'll go ahead and pre-plan. And if we look here, we're already set up for our instructions, so we can.
All right, Captain, got the directions. Let me know through the menu when you're ready.
All right, thrust levels idle. Click that off. I have a noisy joystick a little bit, so sometimes it'll catch it and sometimes it won't if I turn it on and turn it back on. Let's start pushback.
Great news, Captain. Your tow's coming.
All right. Take off the cages there. Look at the aircraft here. Not a bad looking aircraft at all. All right, our tow is here. Just waiting for the connection.
All right, looks like the doors and hatches are closed and we're ready to connect. We got that winching strap and adapter hooked up. Go ahead and let go of the parking brake when you're ready for a push.
All right, V key. Parking brake is off.
Here comes the pushback. Light them up.
All right, we start off by igniting engine number 2. We will see it fire up here. Ignition is on. We can hear it kick in. The guard is closed automatically. We've got N1, and we are ready to turn on the generator. Thrust levels are idle. Go back down and start engine number 2. Got a view out here. Got engine 2 is going. Engine 1 is just starting to fire up there. Cover is on. There we got N1, so we go up here. Generator on. We can turn off the APU. There we go. Take off flaps. We want 2. 1, 2. And we've got moving down here. Let's take a look at our status screen. Got everything good here.
Just about done here. Go ahead and set your parking brake.
All right. The V key again. We set the parking brake.
And we're disconnecting the tow. Give me just a moment.
Let's go ahead and check our good. Hydraulics, all green. Fuel, we've got fuel. Electrical, we are generating power off of both engines. Both engines. No ECS and IIs. Good.
And we're disconnected. Signal and pin on the right. Take it easy and have a safe flight.
We have taxi clearance. Let's go ahead and go to map and put terrain on for right now. Not much terrain around Fresno. Pretty flat in the San Joaquin Valley. We'll go ahead and cut it on for the initial. We know that it's hazy, but good weather. Going up through Northern California anyways. And we've got the signal. So let's give them a wink. Turn on our taxi lights. Emergency lights armed. Parking brake off. Give it a little fuel. Test our parking brakes. Yeah, our parking brakes are good. Bring up our map here. We're going to head straight out on B3. B all the way around. So pretty straightforward. Getting to our runway. Drop off the power a little bit. Don't want to race. Jerk our passengers around. Yeah, it was kind of fun doing this scenery here. Matter of fact, I'm probably going to have to redo it a little bit. Any scenery that I touch with the Scenery Animation Manager, this was the third airport that I did. I also try to make sure that the base airport that I take it from will pass all the gateway specifications. And this airport, I thought I had it dialed in and made a few changes, and when I submitted it to the gateway to fix those, kept on getting additional things that had to be fixed. So I'm going to wait to redo it, the Scenery Animation Manager for the next version until I know that my gateway submission actually gets approved, and all the a lot of little minor tweaks that had to be done to bring it up to the current standards for X-Plane 11. And that's been kind of fun to learn a little bit more about scenery. Inner marker. Go ahead and get rid of the KFAT. Forward a little bit, looking good. I see no traffic. We got permission to occupy and own the runway. Just making sure we got sterile cockpit. Alright. Taxi to holding point. Parking brake's on. Thrust is idle. RTO. Takeoff config test.
No takeoff. Brake.
The only error is that we have the emergency or the parking brake on, which is A-OK. ICAS, request for takeoff. We got it. Transponder. Bring the radio up. TARA. Alright, let's do the lights. Taxi off, strobe on, landing lights on. Auto throttle is going to be armed at this point. And we have takeoff configuration there. Accelerate, give us to 40. Engines look good. Heading sync, we already did that. Takeoff thrust, we're going to go all the way forward. Use the
Takeoff,
brakes.
okay.
Now, a couple options here in taking off. We've got a pretty good angle here. We could actually take off and go to heading mode and manually fly around to the to our route.
80 knots.
We could also manually fly it, or we could see if the FMS will capture it and take us around, or if it'll give us an error message.
V1. VR.
Rotate.
V2.
Positive climb, gear up. Keep it at about 10 degrees climb. Let's path here. Alright, 1,000 feet, so let's go to turn VNav on, LNav, and autopilot. Pretty hard bank there, but it looks like we are in fact going to capture no error messages here, or not on intercept course. Flaps up, 1. We've got speed. We can now move over to FMS mode. So now we have speed being managed. It's in magenta and being managed by the flight computer, as well as lateral navigation and vertical navigation. Speed is coming up, and we are evening out to get onto our flight path, our route. Flaps all the way up. Coming up. We've got speed mode being managed by the FMS. We've got LNav disengaged, level 1,000. Now, one thing that I noticed, one thing that I've learned as far as more reading and from some of the feedback is that magenta on these items here indicate that the FMS, the flight management computer, flight management system, is managing for the computer is now managing our speed, lateral navigation, and vertical navigation. And I added that to the checkoff list just as a reminder for me to make sure that if I decide on heading mode or anything else, that what these colors in fact mean. Alright, so we are good to go up to our 30,000 feet. That sim brief calculated for us about 500 feet less than the FMS, so that should be good. We've got a a temperature of 14 degrees outside, so even though it's hazy and a little bit cloudy, you're not looking at an anti-ice. You're probably looking at an icing situation. Our screen is now blank. Part of the simplification, what the E-Jet does is that it tries to keep the displays as simple as possible. So now that flaps and notes that flaps or speed brakes are active, this area down here is actually blank, so you don't have to even worry. You just glance at it through the display. All right, we are at 8,000 feet, so let's click on the weather, switch to weather. We've got under 10,000, we have a speed restriction of 250, which is perfect. Signs off and ask that totally for bathroom use. Please stay seated for right now, unless you really have to go. I'm going to have a little sip of coffee. FMC has recognized that we're above 10,000 feet, so our speed is now at our program 280, and I think we're good to go. What I've seen in the past, and it may not happen this trip, that flights that I've taken like at 32 and 34,000, when it reaches 32, just under that, the altitude that it was striving to look for, sometimes it'll go to ALT speed, and other times it'll level off, and then because it's below the programmed altitude, the speed will keep on increasing until we get to an overspeed situation. So it'll be interesting to see if this happens at 30,000 feet, because it's, to me, in the prior test flights, it's happened at 32,000 and 34,000. So the important thing to note here is with this aircraft, you need to keep an eye on what's going on. It will not necessarily fly all by itself. You don't want to walk away from this aircraft until it is solidly in a cruise situation. And once I even had it, I was in cruise for probably half an hour or more, and then for some reason it just decided to keep on going faster and went into an overspeed situation. So something to really watch out for with this aircraft. So we're cranking along. Since this is a longer flight from the last flight that we did from Reno to San Francisco, what I'm going to do is pause the flight. I'm going to turn it back on when we get about to 29,000 feet, so you can see us. And at 29,000 feet or above, it should switch from knots to a Mach speed display. And then we should also level off at 30,000, and it should change here. It's a flight change. It should change to ALT, altitude acquired in magenta. This is where I've seen the issue before, where it will have some problems and will go over speed. So go ahead and pause it for right now, so you don't have to display. Watch the scenery. Forward here. As a reminder, over this in the first video, alright, you can actually bring up navigation and change display here for the range, and it gives you a flight path angle, pause the recording for right now. Any issues that come up, I'm going to unpause it so you can see me struggling through that, capturing any issues that we might have. Hopefully this flight will work. All right. We are approaching 29,000 feet. I'm going to switch and use web FMC for my entry in for the using a tablet rather than, which is on my little, rather than using the keypad, because I have found 3 out of the last 5 flights that I've made, I've messed up and not turned the keypad off or on the CDU correctly, and that has messed up the flight, you know, doing flaps or this or that. So I'm going to eliminate that possibility. My own, for some reason I have a lot of problems switching between the keypad entry and the non-keypad entry on the CDU. I'm used to either using the keypad on the CDU itself on the screen, and this one, the SSG one, seems a little, I don't know, it doesn't capture my mouse very good. Or using the web FMC interface, which is I found to be really, really good. So next I can have it up and not have it take up screen real estate. So I'll have it up so you can see it, and I'll tell you what I'm doing when I do things, if I do anything. All right, so we have switched to Mach. We've got 29,900. We're approaching our point of at cruise. We've got altitude in magenta. We're going at 0.74 Mach, which is what we have programmed. And we should see our speed staying at pretty close to the same, not creeping up like it has been doing in the past. So let's kind of watch it for a minute or two. If everything looks, now it's dropping back down, so it looks like it's working good as far as the speed capture, the altitude capture, and maintaining the speed, which it wasn't doing at the 32,000 and 34,000 feet. So what I'll do is go ahead and pause the video again, because there's not much to see here until we get to our descent. Now, one other note here, and what I'll do, just so that we have a little bit of variation from the first flight that we did, is if you go to menu, you have an option of pausing the flight prior to the top of descent. So it's pretty nice, because you can do 5, 10, or 50. Now 50 is a good amount, because we've got to do a little bit of calculations and stuff for planning our descent. So what I'll do is go ahead and leave that at pausing at 50 nautical miles, just so that we can test it out and see how that happens. And then just prior to reaching that point, I will go ahead and unpause the video and just take a look at our speed again. It's looking good, 0.74. So I think we're okay to, I'll go ahead and pause it. I'll enjoy the flight, and but I don't want to, this is more videos mainly to focus on process and procedure, not to just do a flight to do it. Although I am enjoying that. I'm got my fingers crossed that everything is going to go well. I've got my web FMC set up, so I don't have to be confused about whether the keyboard is on or off on the CDU and accidentally extending flaps. So one last look around here. There's the flight, and we're probably over Northern California now. Yep. And take a look at the outside here. Yeah. Nice looking aircraft all in all. You can see the turbulence that we've got. We've got a 60 mile an hour, 60 knot crosswind, a tad bit of a tailwind. So that's why we're bouncing around a little bit, and we're at our cruise altitude. Everything that's supposed to be magenta and the flight management computer is controlling, is in fact controlling. So we're looking good. I'm going to pause the video again, and you can, unless there's an issue that comes up, we'll be ready for our descent planning, the descent and approach. Well, I'm back, and hopefully you're still with us. We're about 60 nautical miles before the top of descent, and I'm going to go ahead and start in with our planning for our descent. So if we take a look at our progress page, our top of descent, we've got fuel. Well, currently have 4.3 tons of fuel. But we're going to have 2.8 when we arrive in Portland. So that's about 1.5 tons that we're going to be getting rid of for fuel. That will put us down to 67,000, a little under 67,000 pounds. So if we go to our quick reference handbook, and let's do a flap 6 full landing, which is the default, or 67,000 pounds. Well, let's go ahead and do the 68,000 anyway. So we've got performance, landing. Keep that as full flaps for landing, 2 for approach. VREF is 68,120. So 2, 0. That is, we'll do 1, 2, 0 as well. That's taking into consideration the wind. 134. Okay, we did pause at 50 nautical miles prior to descent. So that was a good test there. Hit P to unpause. We're still flying here. VFS is 184. 1, 8. There we go. Let's go ahead and go to our checklist before descent. I need to pause this, so we'll pause this. All right. Oh, sorry about that. I had to take a phone call, and I wanted to make sure we captured everything here. So we are back on pause. That didn't take too long, anyways. We did our approach reference. Now, the other bug that we found in the last video, and I will try it again, is that we were unable to program in the radio frequency. So, 2 issues. One is that we weren't able to program the radio frequency. Let's try it again. 110.5. 0. Well, let's use that. The click spot seems to be a little off, which is kind of, that's why I like using the keypad, but then when I use the keyboard, oh shoot, we didn't put down our altitude. So we'll go down to 4,000 feet. the point that we're going to be flying in our loop there. Okay, so yeah, when we looked at the, let's go ahead and finish this up. But when we looked at the flight plan, we got the manual flight that we're going to be doing, and that was at 4,000 feet. So that's what I'm going to set the altitude, the target descent altitude for. ILS frequency 110.5. If we click on this, which is where I would suspect that we would be programming it to, it doesn't program it. Auto goes off and it goes to 111.70. And this happens even when I'm close to the airport that I'm going to be landing at. Now if we click again, it goes back to Eugene, but I don't know how to, and if we do 1110.5 here, it's not found. And I don't know how to get this back to auto. So we'll leave that there. I do know that once we get close, the FMS Auto does work, and it will capture, it'll program in this 110.5 frequency or whatever frequency that you have programmed into your flight plan for the descent. Now, we do have an option of doing a descent now. If we go to progress page, we are 30 nautical miles away from the top of the descent. I believe last time we hit descend now about 10 nautical. Usually I do it about 10 nautical miles prior to top of descent to give it a little bit more gradual start of descent for the passengers. But this time we're just going to go ahead and let the aircraft do that portion of our descent. So we've got ILS frequency we are unable to set. We've set our initial target altitude. Again, we're testing out the FMS, managing the computer all the way down, close to all the way down. 26 nautical miles to top of descent. We've got top of descent showing here on our flight map. And I think at this point we can go ahead and drop down our range to 20 nautical miles so we have a little bit closer idea of what's going on. We've got a nice day in the northwest. We've got coming up to Moxie in 17 nautical miles, and just past Moxie we'll be at top of descent. Flight plan, we've got our speed 0.74, so go to next page for top of descent. We've got our speed, top of descent. Everything looks good. Right. Back to flight plan, we are looking at a headwind now, but only at 24 knots. And go to Portland, we are looking at an altimeter of 2982, scattered winds at 3 knots at 290. So I don't think we're going to need to do much adjustment for our VAP at only 3 knots. 290 at 3 knots. So yeah, we'll just leave that at the initial planning there. So I think we are ready for to do our descent. Got ATIS minimums. Let's see. We've got 100 feet. Let's put that down. That'll pop up right here. Okay, so minimums are set. Now, while we do our descent, the last video that I did, I was setting speed flaps, the speed to full, to slow us down as we were going down. And one of the recommendations that that I got was that typically, if we do speed brakes at either 1/4 or 1/2, that is more than 1/2 is usually more than enough. Usually, just flaps at 1/4 is sufficient. So we'll give that a try as we descend. We're just past Moxie. We'll make a turn and we'll be at top of descent, and we should start down. So I think we're all set for our descent now. And I've got my web FMC up in case I need to do any more actual entry on there. And just to keep track of things, in case things kind of go haywire, we'll go ahead and get our heading set. And 349. That way we've got, if we do need to switch to heading mode, it'll be, we'll be going the right direction, and it'll be quick. Our flight path angle is looking good. One thing I noticed, it's really a hassle. When you look at the flight path angle, it cuts off the first digit. Now you can go over here, and even when you go clear over here, now you can start seeing the first digit. So I don't know why this escaped some of the beta testing. I've done this on 2 different PCs with different screens and resolutions, and it has been consistent where the screen is chopped off there. All right. We are now in path mode, and so it should manage our speed. Looks like we're going up a little bit, so let's give it a 1/4 notch there for speed brake. Still, let's do a 1/2 notch. It's slowing down a little bit. Okay, so now we've got a target speed of 300 for coming down. Let's go to performance, Perfinet, and that is our target. That is what we programmed into the FMC 300.77 for descent. Alright. So now that we're managing that, let's take the speed brakes back up to a 1/4 and see if we can maintain 300 knots with a 1/4 speed brake. Descent is looking good. Look at our flight path angle. And we've got an intercept there at Portal, which looks good, so we're on track there. Got our heading set up the same direction that we're going, so we should get that is good. Got our speed, LNAV, VNAV, all in magenta, so the computer is managing all that. And I did not, so notice we got speed brakes on, and so this area here has lit up again. And we did it because we turned the speed brakes on, not because I accidentally hit the 3 key or the 4 key or anything like that over on this thing here. I can't believe I did that. like 3 times, 3 different flights out of 5. So too much gray hair, I guess. Take a look outside. Come around here. Shift F8. You can take a look at our flight path. Angle of attack here and what we're looking for here. Looks like timbers is a little flaky or off here, but I think we'll probably be ignoring that either. We could go into the timbers is 11,000. Of course, that is not correct. It'll probably it should ignore that. Again here. Yeah. So our angle of attack, it's going to ignore this timbers, which is too low, and give us a smooth descent into Portland. Our speed is now, target speed has dropped from 300 to 270 based on our flight plan. So most of the mistakes that I've been doing with this plane have been mine, and that's primarily related to using the CDU and getting confused as far as whether I've got keyboard on or not, and not watching that if I do select or press a number on the key, it's usually a number that where it messes up, but it could happen to any letter that you're typing in here, and making sure on the console here that everything is okay. The second issue is at the top of climb, sometimes it will go over speed there if it has problems reaching the top of climb. And then the other issue that we've seen is in the programming with the CDU, where it puts erroneous waypoints in. All right, we are at 20,000. Do a refresh here. See if our altimeter has changed any. 2982. Partly cloudy. Should be getting timbers at 11,000. We are, oh no, that's the flaky one. So we got 12 nautical miles to get to 15,000, and we are at 19,000. So we should be really good for our descent down there. Got my fingers crossed that flight number 6 here is going to be a good one, and we can publish and move on. Okay, we're under 18,000. This short-term memory 2982. Okay, 2982, we got our altimeter set. Temperature is -5, so we'll have to watch the clouds there and our temperature to see if we need to turn icing equipment on. but I suspect by the time we get into the clouds, it'll probably maybe warm enough that we don't have to worry about it. And just looking at our weather and stuff, overcast for 4,300. So we're probably going to get some clouds coming into Portland, which we can see ahead of us. Well, I hope these videos are helpful to you. I know just making them, doing them over and over again until I get it right has helped. This has been an extremely frustrating plane to learn. Probably, so I have the FlyJSim-8. I have the 767. And fly the Zeebo. I've got the Tolis A319. This by far has been the most challenging aircraft for me to learn and master. Well, I won't say I mastered this. Just get to the point where I can reliably fly. All right, 14,000. Let's see. Next target is Flower at 9,000. Our speed is good with our speed brake set to 1/4. Our target speed of 250 we're good for passing the 10,000 feet. We're already slowed down good with that. Let's bring the map display in a little bit so we can kind of watch our flight around the corner there towards our approach. Notice nav1 109.2, so it hasn't switched over to our Portland ILS. Of 110.3. Let's see. We are coming in. So there is a portion of this star that is not to scale, which is down here. We are now in the portion to scale, so we can watch on the Navigraph with Avatab that we can watch our approach coming into Flower, F full, and so that kind of is pretty cool. Got our angle of attack here. We got everything is looking good. At 10,000 feet, we'll click on sterile cockpit, put our landing lights on, and go through the rest of our checkpoint. I've not touched the throttle since takeoff. In preparing for landing, I'm going to go ahead and turn it off, bring it down, then if we need to, we'll switch to manual and get it going again. The flight management computer will take care of that until we get to closer to landing. And if we take a look outside, you can see our speed brakes are extended a little bit. Down there. Not certain why there's such a lack of videos for this plane. It would have certainly helped me out, but on the other hand, making these videos has taught me a lot. about managing this airplane and getting it to the point where I can reliably fly it, and kind of learning some of the quirks about the aircraft and getting past the frustration point. So knowing that there could be issues at top of cruise, for example, and you don't walk away from this plane until it's at cruise and it's been flying for a while straight. And, all right, we are starting our second descent here. Kind of watching, we're below 10,000, so we will sterile cockpit, landing lights, and altimeter and transition we've already set. All right, so we're managing our speed still at 250. Speed, lateral navigation, and vertical navigation are magenta, so the flight computer is managing that. Let's bring our heading around now to 305, preparing for reaching pub and then going off at this angle here. Right. And again, we can see our progress here. If it was clear, we could probably see the airport from here. Right, we are, next waypoint is S-sail at 8,000 feet, so not much of a drop there, and at 250. So we could probably turn off the speed brakes actually. And use our thrust to manage our speed. You'll see how see the speed creeping up a little bit. That's slowing down now. Looks like Oregon sunshine. There it is. Yeah, I was born and raised in Oregon, so I know about Oregon sunshine. All right, next waypoint, micro. Target, 5,000 feet, sure enough. We've got everything programmed in. We are at 7,000. Got let's give it a quarter speed brake again. We're dropping about 2,000 feet a minute, so that'll help us maintain speed in our descent. And then coming in, once we hit micro, the next descents are pretty mild, so we can take the speed brake off, hopefully, and forget about it at that point. See a little bit of break in the clouds here and there. We've got our landing lights on. Coming right in. 4.3 nautical miles before micro and 5,000 feet, and we're at 6,200, so that's looking good. We've decreased our target speed, and so we need to probably, let's try half flaps there. There we go. Now we're dropping a little bit faster. Get to our target 210. Everything is going like clockwork for this flight, which is good. I would really wanted to have a follow-up video. Let's see, we're looking at 9 degrees outside temperature and we're going through clouds. So let's go ahead and ice protection, just to be on the safe side. 8 degrees. Oh, anti-ice switch is off. Whoops, that is, I guess by default we've got anti-ice on. Cool. Alright, don't have to worry about that. Alright, we're leveling off. Turn off the speed brakes. We've got pretty mild, our descent rate, angle of attack is pretty gradual from here on in. Alright. Keep up 3,500. So we've got a little over 1,300 feet to drop there in 6 nautical miles. So we're looking good. A little quieter now that the engines have tapered off. Running about 45, 10-1. Speed is being maintained very well. Speed brakes off. Flaps 0. Let's take a look outside. Oh yeah, so flaps are down. Our flaps are up, rather. Speed brakes are retracted. Oh, look at that. Coming down below the clouds. We are 1.9 nautical miles from Pipa. So let's make sure we know where the heading button is. It's right here. And we are in heading mode, so we should be 305. And at 4,000 feet is our target. We're about 100 feet above that. Keep us above the hills, hopefully. It's interesting that we're on path mode. We have PA selected 4,000 feet and it's not dropping down anymore, but it'll probably do that once we drop it down to 3,100 feet while we swing around to get to Heron. We'll set it to, actually we'll set it to 2,000 for the actual approach in Pelicans. Let's swing out a little bit, give us a little bit more room to get around the Scapo, make our U-turn. Yeah, we're gradually dropping down here on our altitude. Maintaining speed at 210. Notice we are in green heading mode, which indicates that I, as the pilot, am in control of this, not the computer. All right, we've got altitude. Finally decided to, we got across from Scapa, so decided we're close enough to 4,000. Now we are in altitude mode. Still FMS managing that. Given that, we can go ahead and put the altitude selection to 2,000 feet for the approach. Heron is our next waypoint, so we can actually, it recognizes that we're close enough to Scapa. Now we can go ahead and swing around, do our U-turn. Once we're back on track towards Heron, we will go back into nav mode and then set up our approach. Pretty tight turn, that was pretty cool. Okay, let's go back to path mode and nav. All right, let's get into preview mode so we can get everything activated there. We're dropping down for our approach. Let's go ahead and we're at 210. Flaps 1 we can do at 230, so let's do flaps 1. Let's see if that took effect. Speed brakes are off. Alright, preview mode is on. Select approach. And looks like we're active here. We're looking at 10 nautical, 15 nautical miles looks like to the runway. We're getting close to switching to ILS mode. Oh, we already are on ILS mode. It did that automatically without me changing it. So we are on ILS mode. Let's check the radio. 110.5, yay! All right, so see, it did switch automatically. We're approach mode, speed at 200. Let's take our speed to manual. Down to 190. Yeah, let's see. So we've got MCU sources VL. Okay, that's good. Landing gear. Let's do that at pallets, so when we're actually in approach. Just a reminder, as our performance, landing, 120 for VREF. Airport in sight. Landing gear down. We're doing this. Flight plan. Almost to approach. Let's do landing gear 2. Landing gear. Flaps 2. Flaps 2. They're still traveling. Bring our speed down. Got approach, equalizer, flaps down to 3, reached our altitude, we're capturing our glide slope. Speed down to 140. And we're starting our descent. We're following our glide slope there. We've got flaps at 3, so flaps again, flaps at 4. Brakes are landing gear is down. Brakes, we're kind of heavy, so let's do medium. So we got landing gear down. Brake is set. Right. Landing gear down. Glider following the glide slope in. Bring our altitude up to 5,000. In case there's an issue, we have to do a go round. Flaps 5. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn off autopilot.
Autopilot. Autopilot. Autopilot.
Yes, I know.
Autopilot. Autopilot.
And
Glide slope. 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 Glide slope.
oops.
Glide
Sorry.
slope. Glide 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 slope.
Yeah, I know.
Glide slope. Glide slope.
100.
Slope.
Minimum.
Glide slope.
Autopilot.
Flight slow.
Autopilot.
Flight slow.
Autopilot.
Flight slow. 50.
Autopilot.
40. 30.
Shut off the throttles.
20.
Autopilot.
10.
Autopilot.
Too low. Gear.
Why am I crooked? And the gear's down.
Auto brake.
Like I had a failure in my landing gear. Oh, okay. Well, anyways, we made a landing. We will let everybody off and get the emergency vehicles out here. Another flight where things didn't go quite right. Not certain why our landing gear failed, but I'm going to go with this. So, hope you enjoyed the flight, and hope you learned something from this. 7 flights, 0 successful landings, one thing or another. Well, let's take a look at the landing, just out of curiosity. Toggle replay mode. Figure out, see if I can see.
Too low.
All right.
Gear. Too low. Gear.
Okay.
Too low. Gear. 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 Too low. Gear.
Oh, I had a bit of an angle on the runway.
Too low. Gear. Too low. Gear.
Yeah, it doesn't
too
look
low.
like this.
Gear. Too low. Gear.
That was accidentally turning the autopilot on again. Bring it around the front seat on this side here and see if we can see what went on with that. I thought it was going to be a halfway decent landing. I don't know why the landing gear buckled there. Oh well. Okay, well that's it for this trip. Hope you enjoyed it.